Tomorrow, we have an away game against Southampton, 12:30 PM UK time kickoff, in a game which I'm sure is going to be dominated by the press. Now, in Thomas Tuchel and Ralph Hasenhuttl, these are two managers that believe in the philosophy of gegenpressing, set and originated by the father of gegenpressing in Ralph Rangnick. So tomorrow afternoon, we have a very interesting tactical battle against Southampton. Now, ever since they beat Liverpool 1-0, Southampton have lost their past 6 league games. Us, on the other hand, we've won our past 4 games, and with Southampton, it seems like their woes continue to go on. Both Kyle Walker-Peters and both Theo Walcott won't be taking part in tomorrow's game. So, based on all the evidence we're seeing with Southampton's past form, and based on how they've been struggling with injuries too, is this game in the bag? Well, let's not get too carried away, you guys. We have a massive game next week against Atletico Madrid. So, for the game tomorrow, could we be seeing Tuchel making some smart rotations to help cope with 2 intense games against 2 teams that like to press? Now, let's focus on our opponents. With Southampton, they really are one of the best pressing teams in the league. They like to use a high line, they like to press from the front foot, and they like to play a 4-2-2-2, which then transitions to become a narrow 4-2-3-1 in attack, with the wingers obviously tucking inside and the fullbacks pushing high and wide. Southampton look to constantly maintain their high press, and from a tactical point of view, in our players in Jorginho and Cover, 2 players that can struggle against teams that like to press high from the front foot and of course like to flood the midfield, this will pose an interesting tactical test. However, you guys, regardless of the outcome of this game won't be the game where we can climb up the table, as we're still 4 points behind Leicester City. However, what is key is getting momentum. That momentum which is key to take forward into our upcoming difficult encounter against Atletico Madrid. Winning is always the best momentum booster. And you guys, on that note, for the preview, I'm going to break down Tuchel's press conference. I'm going to break down the 3 predicted lineups that I think Tuchel is going to pick. And to end things, I'll give my match predictions. So I hope you guys do enjoy. And without wasting any more time, let's kick things off and discuss what Tuchel had to say in the press conference earlier this afternoon. Now, straight off the bat, you guys, we had some positives and we had some negatives. Now, the positives are in regards to Tammy Abraham. Tuchel stated that it seems like Tammy is capable to take part in the 3 PM training session earlier this afternoon, so this gives us a great indication that Tammy is going to be available in the squad in tomorrow's game. On the other hand, we got news on Thiago Silva. As we all predicted, I guess, Silva won't be taking any part in tomorrow's game, and how can he when we have a difficult encounter against Atleti in the UCL? But to end things with the bad news, you guys, it seems like Christian Pulisic won't be taking any part in tomorrow's game, and as Tuchel said, Pulisic felt a bit of tightness in his calf. So talks turned towards Timo Werner. Thomas Tuchel suggested that he feels that Werner right now looks more confident. He's gaining that confidence day by day by day. And he said that Werner is a versatile type of player who is now settling in more in his environment. So that's positive news to hear, because in our past 3 games, Werner really has been that team player. He's been contributing to the team, he's been working hard for the team, and as I've said constantly, that is the bare minimum you have to show. And when you do that, it's only natural then that your form is going to come back very, very soon. But you guys, let's continue on. Tuchel reiterated that Edouard Mendy is still his #1 goalkeeper. And I felt like Tuchel was super assertive when saying that Mendy is his #1 by suggesting that, you can't show any fear when it comes to stating your opinion outright. You can't hide your opinions. They have to be clear. So I guess we can expect Mendy to get back into the team tomorrow, and maybe Kepa isn't impressing Tuchel as much as he should, but I get the impression that Tuchel has a balanced plan in regards to giving Kepa those safe games to play in, to hopefully maintain some type of form, some type of transfer value. And I guess we see what happens in the summer, but let's keep going on. Tuchel was then asked about Fikayo Tomori. Now, Tuchel kept things absolutely real. He said straight off the bat that, I haven't been in communication with him, and to be honest, I'm only focusing purely and solely on the 22-man squad that I have at my disposal right now, which is, fair enough. I mean, you You don't have a pre-season with the team. You need time to get your tactics working. There's barely been any time to, really focus on all the details that you want to. So it sounds like a bit of a stretch that he'd have time to speak to players out on loan right now. But Tuchel did say that in the next few weeks and months, he does plan to hold discussions with players out on loan. And he ended things by saying that Tomori is a player of high potential. And then to end things, you guys, of course, we got more information in regards to Pulisic being out, and it wasn't necessarily an injury that has ruled him out from the game, but as Tuchel mentioned, due to the injury history that Pulisic does have, that does have to be taken into consideration with himself and the medical staff, and they felt like it wasn't the best game to rush him back in that sense because they're trying to manage his body better, which is fair enough. I think that if Pulisic is eventually, hopefully one day, going to get past these small knocks that are constantly halting the momentum that he's trying to build. I feel like they could potentially ruin his very, very high potential. So, now we have a manager in Thomas Tuchel who has worked with Pulisic before, who knows the player, who understands him. He could be the key guy needed to help Pulisic get his body back on track, you guys. And to end things with the final question, Hakim Ziyech was brought up in the conversation, and this was a very blunt and honest conference from Tuchel today. Tuchel said straight that, due to having certain personnel on the team, basically, there hasn't been an opportunity for Ziyech to play that part in the team. Tuchel did state that in the next few games, due to the very busy schedule, he's hoping to rely upon the entire squad right now. Well, I've got some thoughts and opinions on Ziyech's situation right now, but I feel like that would be better suited for a separate video entirely. So on that note, you guys, that was the end of the press conference. We now take things forward and we now move on to the predicted lineup segment for the game tomorrow. To give you guys a quick intro, of course, naturally, Thiago Silva can't take any part in the game tomorrow. We need him fit and ready for the game on the 23rd. Now, of course, this brings up questions too in regards to Tammy Abraham. The positive news is that he's fine, and I'm assuming that he could be involved in the game tomorrow. And I guess this same question does apply to Kai Havertz. Now, Kai Havertz wasn't brought up in the conference today, but as we saw from yesterday, he has been back in training. So does this give us an indication that maybe he starts the game tomorrow or has some type of involvement as the game goes on? And for me, the third question that I'm asking myself is, okay, we have the upcoming game against Atleti. I'm kind of stuck in two minds. In one hand, are we going to see Tuchel rely upon using his preferred lineup? And then let's say we get the result within the first 60 minutes. And then for the second half, we rely upon the subs to help, give some of the players that Tuchel prefers more rest. Or on the other hand, are we going to see more smart rotations used from the start of the game? Of course, to rest certain man for the game against Atleti. So, you guys, today I'm going to go through three predicted lineups, starting with the first one. As you guys can see on screen, I've gone for a 3-4-2-1. Now, this is a bit of a safe one, but up front, I've gone for Olivier Giroud. Alongside him, I've gone for Timo Werner and Mason Mount. For the wing-backs, I've gone for Hudson-Odoi and I've gone for Marcos Alonso. And in midfield, Jorginho on cover with a tried and tested defence of Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta and Mendy back in goal. Now my thinking is, I've relied upon this formation and this type of lineup from the past few games. It has brought the success. It gives us that foundation to work from and to build from. And, against Southampton, a team that are going to be pressing quite a lot, I want to see how this team does cope against the opposition that likes to play this type of game. So, on that note, of course, the back three, I'm assuming, will be the consistent back three used throughout, most of my predicted lineups. I've gone for Giroud up front. My thinking with Giroud is that, okay, he scored in the last game. Tammy Abraham, how fit and ready is he actually going to be after picking up that, slight little knock in the previous game? It feels like maybe Tuchel does rely upon his experience up front, considering that, we create the opportunities, but we're not putting them away. And I've gone for Hudson-Odoi over Reece James at wing-back because in games like this, Tuchel wants to use his pace and directness in behind to help stretch your position, to help get in behind them. Hudson-Odoi's pace in behind does really work. So that's the first lineup out of the way. We now move on to the second predicted lineup, and it's based on the first one. However, this one does involve some smart rotations in the team. Now, again, this is another 3-4-2-1. Up front, I've stuck with Giroud. Alongside him, Werner and Mason Mount. At wing-backs, I've gone for Ben. I've gone for Hudson-Odoi. In midfield, I've stuck with Kova and George. In defence, I've gone for Rudiger. I've gone for Zuma. I've gone for Reece James, and I've gone for Mendy back in goal. Now, my thinking is, of course, maybe Tuchel wants to rely upon using that tested back three in the game versus Atleti, and there's no point risking certain injuries or potential situations to players that he prefers in his first team lineup. And this is an opportunity as well to give more game time to the other players to get more accustomed to Tuchel's ideas, because of course we've had a bit of time in regards to training sessions due to the last game we played, where this bit of time was going to help the other players, guys that haven't been relied upon as much, to get themselves back into the team potentially. For me, I think Ben's place against Southampton could be key, and ideally I'd prefer to see Ben, so I can see Werner tucked in field, who can potentially get more shots on goal. In the last game I was a bit frustrated with amount of opportunities that Alonso got playing more in field, with Werner essentially playing as that wing back. Now, I went for James and Zuma based on the same principles. I do think with Azpilicueta, I'd rather have him fit and fully ready for that game versus Atleti, and I think against Southampton, seeing that link-up play that we saw with guys like Mount, Reece James and Hudson-Odoi playing against Spurs, there's a reason why we look so fluid, so sharp and so fast, and I feel like that could be key against a Southampton team that are going to look to press us high in our own half. And of course, Zuma, again, it's just based on the fact that, his aerial presence, his strength, that is definitely going to help us. And yeah, that is basically my thinking for the second lineup. Now, to end things with the third and final lineup, and of course, you guys, this is more of a shock surprise lineup. Now, the thinking behind this for me is that, versus Atleti, we have like a few days after the game versus Southampton. Could we be seeing Tuchel possibly thinking forward to that game, and could that possibly influence the lineup that we see tomorrow? So based on that, you guys, I've gone for a 4-3-3. Now, yes, it's been a long time since we've seen that, second half against Barnsley, but in this team, I've gone for Werner, I've gone for Giroud, and I've gone for Hudson-Odoi. In midfield, I've gone for Mason Mount, I've gone for Havertz, and I've gone for Kante, and in defense, I've gone for Ben, Reece James, Rudiger, Zuma, and Mendy in goal. Now, my thinking behind this is that if Tuchel is planning on using a back three system against Atleti, and my thinking behind this is that if Tuchel is planning on using a back three system against Atletico Madrid, then maybe that means you have to rest players like your Covers, your Georges, your Aspies, and others who are suited to a back three style of football. Now, I stand by this, as I'm constantly saying. I feel like our squad is suited for two different styles of football. We have like the back three team and we have the back four team, and tomorrow against Southampton, that would surprise them a little bit. I'm sure they're preparing to play against the back three system, so just bringing that little back four system back into the game, having more players that are more press resistant, players that can bring more threat from midfield as well, could be an opportunity to of course surprise them, as well as resting players for the game versus Atleti. So there you guys, they are my 3 predicted lineups. In the comments below, give your opinions. What lineups do you want to see? Do you agree with any of the lineups I put out? Do you agree with any of the thought processes behind these lineups? I mean, you guys, make sure you comment below. And to end things, I'm now going to give my match prediction, and for the game tomorrow, I'm going for a safe and standard 2-0 win. Now, I do feel like a clean sheet is imperative, because that allows you to take that confidence of your defense forward to the next game. And I think, momentum plays such a massive part throughout football. Against Southampton, they are going to pose a bit of a test, for real, for sure. But at the same time, I've gone for 2-0 because, is our attack at that place right now where we're going to consistently put the ball in the back of the net? Who knows, you guys? And again, at the same time, it also depends on what Southampton team we're playing against. I mean, yeah, you guys, that was the match preview out of the way. I hope you guys did enjoy. I'm the EFC, this is Blue Lines TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.